Moving on to Richie. This is ridiculous. What's up, Richie? Do you support Trump as president?
I do support Trump as president.
What do you think it is? Why do you think I can't find like literally any Trump supporters to debate?
I actually don't know. I think you've blown up a lot more recently, and I think that a lot of people come in and just try to troll because they're like, oh, there's a lot of people viewing. You know?
Maybe. Let me thank two people before I give you the mic. I'm just going to call you D because I don't know how to pronounce your first name. But D, thank you for the 20 pounds on Super Chat saying, Dean, you rock, Irish fan. Hell yeah, dude. Appreciate y'all for the Guinness. Best beer ever, and I appreciate you for the 20 pounds. All the love to Ireland. As well as Chloe. Holy God, dude. Chloe, thank you for the $51 over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Chloe. That is so much money. That is so generous. Thank you, Chloe. Chloe says, love you so much. Dean, have a good day, and don't forget to take care of yourself. Thank you, Chloe. I'm going to be taking care of myself this evening, doing a family dinner. I cannot wait. Thank you so much, D and Chloe. Y'all are the real fucking deal. All right. Why do you support Trump as president?
I like his immigration policy.
Okay. All right. Which immigration policy?
Deporting illegal immigrants.
Okay. And what is one materially positive outcome of mass deportation?
One net positive outcome would be that people who came into this country illegally wouldn't be here anymore and can come back legally.
Yeah. And how's that materially benefit our country?
It materially benefits the immigrants themselves more, actually.
It does not benefit the immigrants to forcefully.
So it's better to be an undocumented immigrant than a documented legal immigrant with
that's what you mean. You're saying it materially benefits the immigrants by allowing them to go back to do it the legal way. Okay, all right. Well, it is better to be a legal immigrant than an undocumented immigrant. And if you're saying that you support mass deportation because of the material benefit to undocumented immigrants, first and foremost, I think that you're being like incredibly like bad faith. Like obviously, no, it is not beneficial to deport them, to send them to CCOT where they're beaten and tortured, held for years, just to then have to wait in line again for 12 years to become a citizen. I think that maybe if you are not being bad faith and you genuinely mean this, we could agree that a better alternative to mass deportation would be mass amnesty, in the sense of giving the undocumented immigrants a pathway to residency or citizenship while they're already in the country, so they don't have to go back to another country, then wait 12 years to be back in America.
I just don't think they should be given. They shouldn't gain a benefit over the people who are already in that line.
Wait, didn't you just say that you support mass deportation because it gives them a benefit?
It does, but it also would give, if we stopped deporting them and started doing mass amnesty like you're saying, it would give the people who are trying to legally immigrate a harder time themselves, and they shouldn't be punished for other people committing crimes and breaking into our country.
Well, that's why I think that we should offer the same expedited pathway to residency or citizenship, not just to the undocumented immigrants that are already in this country, but also to all and anyone that wants to seek legal entry into the country.
But you think that like undocumented immigrants should get a fast pass to citizenship?
Yeah, I think anyone who wants to be a citizen outside of a couple like different groups of people, like those with prior violent offenses, so on and so forth, should get a fast pass to citizenship because it helps the country, right? And another way to think about this, because you just said that you wouldn't support mass amnesty because you think that it'd serve as a detriment to legal immigrants. No, I actually think it'd help the legal immigrants, because guess what? Mass amnesty would make our country better off and would protect and build our economy. Undocumented immigrants already contribute $1.1 trillion through $1.7 trillion to the GDP per year and pay $100 billion in taxes per year. We give them residency. We give them citizenship. We're giving them bargaining power so they could get higher wages from their employers. And we're giving them more incentive to work over the table and pay taxes, since they can claim state and federal benefits in all states, in every corner of the country, and they could file for a tax return. So they would be more likely to work over the table, meaning they're more likely to pay taxes, and they'd be more likely to pay more taxes and more likely to contribute more to the GDP because they'd be more likely to get higher wages, thereby creating a more productive economy that is growing at a faster rate and giving the government more revenue to turn around and spend on said economy and the citizens slash constituents of the country, which will then propagate a better environment socially and economically speaking for illegal immigrants to be walking into once their claim of legal immigration is approved. Do not act like a plan of mass amnesty would serve as a detriment to legal immigrants when it would only materially benefit them.
I think it would materially benefit the people who are already in this country more, though, and I think that that is, like, inherently wrong. I think that the people who are trying to come in legally deserve more of a fast track than the people who aren't.
No, I'm
who are
saying
already in the
we just
country.
give like those that are trying to legally come into the country that same expedited pathway to residency or citizenship to the undocumented immigrants. And I just think that you're being bad faith by attempting to construe an argument born out of a care for illegal immigrants on the matter, considering how Donald Trump's mass deportation has also impacted legal immigrants by holding people like Mahmoud Khalil in ICE detention centers for 3 months, and considering how mass deportation hurts new legal immigrants by giving them a worse country to walk into because of the destructive effects of mass deportation on our economy.
How is it destructive on our economy?
Well, I mean, because of the facts that I've already went over. I already told you how the American Immigration Council tells us that if we were to remove all undocumented immigrants tomorrow, our GDP would fall by 1.1 trill through 1.7 trill per year. Our government would lose out on the $100 billion that they pay per year in taxes, and they'd be spending $2 trillion in the next 10 years just to get the operation done and underway. And when our government is making less money, spending more money, and the economy is less productive, and we're firing 8.3 million of our workers, removing 11 million of our consumers, meaning less goods are getting produced and less goods are being bought, we're destabilizing our industries. And obviously, a slimming GDP with less government revenue and more government expenditure with a more destabilized economy is going to be a worse state of affairs for legal immigrants to be walking into. Boom. Case closed. Those are the facts. Would you like to respond to the facts?
Yeah, so that money that we make off of allowing them in legally, we've already spent more than that on having them in the country. Like all the money that we do make off of them is spent more on keeping them in the country illegally than getting them that citizenship. Like we're already losing money having illegal immigrants in the country.
Yeah, according to whom?
You said how $100 billion.
Yeah, we can't hear you when you leave the app. I feel like you're giving
My
us
bad.
a House report that says they cost $156 billion per year. Am I right?
I am going to give you that report. And why is that report wrong?
Because it considers citizens as undocumented immigrants.
What citizens?
The citizen children
What
of
do you mean?
undocumented immigrants.
Oh, does it actually?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I will actually accept that then. Shit.
Yeah.
They're citizens. I think birthright citizenship is actually important too. I don't like that Trump's trying to get rid of that. I like birthright citizenship.
Yeah, so then you don't support how he attempted to unconstitutionally infringe on the 14th Amendment his first day in office with Executive Order number 14160. Well, I mean, you just said that committing a misdemeanor was enough to warrant a removal from the country if it's an undocumented immigrant. Now you're saying violating the Constitution.
If the misdemeanor is entering our country illegally,
the White House if you're the president?
I think people should get removed for the misdemeanor because the misdemeanor is breaking into our country. The punishment kind of fits the crime there. If you break into our country illegally and you get caught doing so, you get removed
So
from
you're
the
saying that
country.
the punishment fits the crime. Can we agree that whenever a president is inaugurated, they take an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution? So therefore, violating the Constitution, getting kicked out of the White House, punishment fits the crime?
I guess, but I don't think that's happened.
You just said,
So,
I guess? Are you saying that you guess Donald Trump should literally be thrown out of the White House?
If you break your oath, you have broken your oath. Yeah, that's
So
kind
is that, wait,
how
so
that
you're
works.
just conceding. You just said, I guess Donald Trump should be impeached.
They've already tried that.
Wait, would you support them trying again?
Would I support it? No, I don't. I don't know. I really don't think I would.
So then why did you say, I guess you would support him being impeached if you don't actually mean it?
Because I see where your standpoint is coming from.
Okay, so do you agree or
Like
disagree?
in theory, that's accurate. Like in theory, if somebody breaks their oath, if somebody's oath is, if I don't follow this oath, I will not be president anymore, and they break that oath, then they get removed as president. That is kind of how that logically would play out.
So theoretically, you'd support Trump's impeachment.
If it was black and white like that, yeah, I would, but it's not black and white like that.
Okay, and what's the nuance that means although you'd theoretically support his impeachment, you don't actually in the real world?
Because he didn't actively infringe on the Constitution.
Yeah, you did. Executive Order number 14160, signed into law January 1st, 2025, actively infringed on the 14th Amendment, particularly.
Then why hasn't he been impeached? Why hasn't he been impeached then?
Because of a GOP majority in both chambers of Congress.
So do you think that if the Democrats win the midterms, he's going to be impeached?
I think that if the Democrats win the midterms, they'll certainly try. Yeah.
All right. I don't think that's true. I just don't think that's what would happen.
Come on, they tried to impeach him 2 times his first term, and Trump 2.0 is like a billion times
They
worse
failed
than Trump
miserably, and they
1.0.
realized, damn, it's probably not a good idea to try this.
Do you know why they failed? Like, especially the second time they tried to impeach him? It's because our congressmen and women were so dumb they didn't know that you could impeach a president even if they weren't president anymore. Did you know that? They tried to impeach him for his fake electorate plot when he attempted to steal and rig the 2020 election from Biden.
You're telling me the Democratic Party's stupid? Doesn't understand the rules of
Well, I mean, here's where you learn. I definitely don't think we have the best congressmen and women on either sides of the aisle. Yeah.
I don't either. I think that way better options on both sides. I do agree with you there.
Right. But it was mostly Republicans.
Who didn't impeach Trump again? I would hope that his own party wouldn't impeach him.
Wait, really? Are you saying that the GOP congressmen and women should value party lines more than the future of the country?
No, but I think that they do. I think they actively do that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't hope that they would actively do that.
I wouldn't expect it. I meant expect, not hope.
Right. So anyways, so you're telling me theoretically you would support Donald Trump being impeached, but you don't actually support him being impeached. Why is that? Because the last time I asked you this question, you said it's because he wasn't actively infringing on the Constitution. So would this mean if he was actively infringing upon the Constitution, that you would no longer support him?
Depends in which manner he's infringing upon the Constitution.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean it depends?
I mean that it depends on what he's doing. Yeah,
okay. So
yeah, what if he's infringing on the Constitution? Because what if he removed the Second Amendment tomorrow? Would you support that?
No.
You're lying. I just don't believe that you would be happy if the Second Amendment got repealed.
Wait. I don't think the solution is to gun violence is to repeal the Second Amendment.
Then what is the solution?
That is not the solution to gun violence. The solution to gun violence is common sense gun reform that we've already seen work in other countries. Where that common sense gun reform isn't attempting to illegally take down the Second Amendment with executive power. Would you support him tomorrow if he tried to take away 2A?
Absolutely not.
Because you support 2A?
I do.
Didn't you earlier tell us that you support birthright citizenship?
I do. How do these contradict each other?
Because if he illegally tried to take away birthright citizenship, you'd stop supporting him in that circumstance too, right?
Depends.
Oh, wait, so why does it depend for birthright citizenship, but it doesn't depend for 2A? Is maybe the difference that Donald Trump actually has illegally infringed upon birthright citizenship?
What was that? Repeat that.
So why does it depend for him infringing on birthright citizenship, but it doesn't depend for him infringing on 2A?
Because how effective was that executive order? If it infringes on the Constitution, it just doesn't go through. That's just how that works.
Right, because courts strike it down. Yeah, that is how it works. Wait, which only further demonstrates why.
Been upheld.
Oh, wow. Well, if it wasn't infringed on when he signed that executive order into law, why did the court strike it down? Boom. It's because it infringed on the Constitution. You this is like saying if I were to break the law and go 20 miles over the speed limit and a cop catches me an hour into me going 20 miles over the speed limit, they're going to pull me over and correct my action because I infringed on the law by speeding, very similar to how Donald Trump infringed on the Constitution with Executive Order number 14160.
You asked me if I would support him if he tried to do that. And I actually said I don't support that he tried to do that, but I just don't support his impeachment over it.
So overall, why do you still support Trump as president, even though he's a wannabe authoritarian that doesn't care about the Constitution?
I think that he's way more beneficial to our country than Kamala.
Okay. Name one way he's materially benefited America in the last 8 months.
So, just the whole situation in the Middle East in general, honestly, I think that Trump is better fit to handle it.
You think that Donald Trump, the guy who said that Israel should be able to annex the rest of the...
He actually just said they're not going to be able to annex it. Didn't he just say that?
About the West Bank. I won't believe it until I see it. I'm talking about the Gaza Strip, though. He said, oh yeah, guys, finish the job you started. In fact, we will literally help you ethnically cleanse the remaining part of the Gaza Strip by threatening sanctions on Jordan and Egypt if they do not accept the forceful Palestinian refugees. And then we'll go into the Gaza Strip, bulldoze it, flatten it, build a Riviera, and then give the Gaza Strip to Netanyahu.
And I think that he's flipped on that view completely. honestly. I think that like, since he said that, he's just flipped on that.
Okay.
It has been exhibited.
Then go ahead and demonstrate.
He's been going against Netanyahu for the past, like, 2 months, Dean.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't been going against Netanyahu because the money's still flowing, the bombs are still being signed, and he's still okay with their annexation of the Gaza Strip. It is actually other countries like Germany, Australia, and Canada that are now recognizing Palestinian statehood, and are now not offering any funding for weapons or bombs, and are finally starting to agree with the UN in the sense that we have plausible reasoning to believe that the state of Israel is committing an ethnic cleansing or genocide. Donald Trump, on the other hand, denies that, says that Israel is America's best friend, continues to send them the money and the weapons, and continues to support their ongoing ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip. The statement that you brought up was him saying that he wouldn't allow it in the West Bank. Okay, even if that was true, the West Bank is different from the Gaza Strip, but I'm not going to believe it until I see it.
Well, I mean, we're kind of actively seeing that. He's putting the border down now, saying, "Hey."
Okay, so then what is the relevant change in policy directed towards Israel?
I mean, you were just saying that this whole entire presidency, he's been giving them exactly what they want. He has just went out and spoken out against them publicly. Yeah, like, he doesn't need to directly sign something in for geopolitical...
Like I said, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Netanyahu's going to visit the White House
a valid response in the debate. I don't believe that that's going to happen, even though he said it. So everything that you say from now on, I'm just going to say, I don't believe that.
Wait, are you saying that it's invalid?
I'll believe it when I see it.
Wait, is
Dean?
it invalid for me to suggest that Donald Trump is not an infallible foundation of truth, as if he didn't lie 30,000 times in his first term, as if he didn't tell the biggest lie that any sitting president has ever told with his denial of the outcome of the 2020 election, and continues to repeatedly lie about the efficacy of vaccines, the nature of Tylenol, or even facts such as the idea that he's not actually guilty of his 34 felonies, he didn't actually grape E. Jean Carroll, or that he was the man of the year in Michigan 20 years back? Like, come on, no. You're literally trying to argue that I'm in the wrong if I don't take Donald Trump for his word. Come on, bruh.
What I'm just saying, like, it's just a bad argument to me saying, hey, he literally just spoke out against what Israel is doing. And then you go, well, I'll believe it when I see it.
When did he speak out against what Israel's doing in Gaza?
He said he won't allow them to annex the West Bank. That's that's speaking out against Israel, is it not?
Different than Gaza. We're talking about the ethnic cleansing in Gaza.
That's speaking out against Israel.
So you
showing
think
that his views on Israel have changed from being Israel is 100% right.
You think that you could speak out? You think that you could speak out against Israel while still saying that you want to help the ethnic cleansing in Gaza?
He said he wanted to help them since he said they can't annex the West Bank. He doubled down on that since, when he said that, I think it was yesterday or today.
Dude, I'm going to repeat this for one last time, and at this point I'm getting really upset because you are just foundationally misunderstanding truth. Okay, this is my last time going over this. And it's not unrealistic of me or anyone to not believe that Donald Trump truly means what he says about the West Bank, considering the fact, point number one, there's been no change in his policy directed towards Israel. Point number two, he's historically been a self-described pro-Israel president, the most pro-Israel president that we've ever had. Point number three, he lies all the goddamn time. Like, for instance, when he says that he didn't actually grape E. Jean Carroll, if I were to take Donald Trump at his word, saying that he wouldn't support the annexation of the West Bank, but he would support, but he also didn't grape E. Jean Carroll, I'd be forced into doing so if we were to accept his word of mouth as a standard of truth. And point number four, the fact that he literally offered the U.S.'s help in the ethnic cleansing of Gaza, it is completely reasonable for me to not believe him when he says that. Additionally, this is another point that is worth making. In his statement about the West Bank, he said, well, if we were to move on to the West Bank, that would be, quote unquote, too much. Meaning that he does not think that the ethnic cleansing of the over 2 million Palestinians living in Gaza is too much.
I'm still kind of confused. You don't know how he still feels on that now about Gaza at the second. He's going to meet with Netanyahu in a week. What if there is a peace deal delivered then?
Oh, so you're saying a type of ceasefire agreement that Israel's just going to violate again for the billionth time, like they did with the ceasefire agreement at the end of the Biden-Harris administration, that Donald Trump actually told Netanyahu to hold off and not accept until after the election so he could claim it was his doing. And then also, just in response to that last argument, you ignored everything I just said and suggested a hypothetical what if. Yeah, and like, what if fucking NASA determined the Earth was flat tomorrow? Like, come on.
That would be pretty crazy. That would that would be a lot less believable than a ceasefire between Israel and Gaza after next week.
Honestly, I might disagree.
All right. You can disagree with that. You can disagree with that, Dean. Dean. Have you ever watched Community, Dean?
No. Do you have any other
Dude, you remind me of the Dean.
Do you have
What?
do you have any other reasons why you support Trump?
I think his first term was really good economically.
Okay.
Record low unemployment and whatnot.
Okay, so you're just going to look at a point, say there's really low unemployment, and then just basically associate it with being caused by him since he was president. Will you do the same thing with the 3 months where we had a lower level of unemployment under the Biden-Harris administration and say that the Biden-Harris administration caused even lower levels of unemployment than Trump?
They were given the already dropping levels of unemployment by Donald Trump.
They were given already dropped.
That was kind of dropped on them.
Trump.
It was kind of dropped upon their lap.
No, actually, in April of 2020, less than a year before the election, the unemployment rate was the highest it's been since the Great Depression. That is not a good argument.
And why was that?
Because of the pandemic.
Okay,
right? But that doesn't change anything in my argument. You said that they were giving low dropping levels of unemployment. When they walked into office, the level of unemployment was 9%. What was the level of unemployment when Donald Trump walked into office in his first term?
I don't know, what was it?
Like 4.
Okay. Still got it lower.
Right, exactly. Donald Trump walked into a lower level of unemployment. So if you want to attempt to...
But he sustained it for 4 years. He sustained it for 4 years.
If you want to attempt to make an argument that we cannot say it was Biden's fault that we had the even lower levels of unemployment that we did under the Trump administration, because when he walked into office, we had a particular level of unemployment. Well, it was 9% when Biden walked in. It was 4% when Trump walked in, meaning that this argument would actually apply to Trump more than Biden. Do you get the point? Does everyone watching get the point? I actually want to start asking you guys about that. Like, does everyone get the point here of like what the last argument I made was? Like, okay, good. Because like I often gaslight myself into thinking that I'm just not speaking correctly or like portraying my point in like a clear manner because of like how little like gesture of like understanding I will ever get from the Trump supporter I'm debating. But do you understand that last point?
To an extent, I feel like sustaining that low level over 4 years doesn't mean like it means he did good.
Okay, so like
it didn't go up. The unemployment didn't go up. It continued to go down, and he sustained it for 4 years.
Okay,
How is that?
I very similarly argue that the Biden-Harris administration didn't just sustain downward pressure on the level of unemployment, but they actually performed better given the high level of unemployment onset by the pandemic compared to any other country in the G7, alongside other economic variables. And I wouldn't say that there's any policy, economically speaking, from Donald Trump's first administration that was all too notable. I would give him a good like C- for his economic policy in his first term, because although it didn't absolutely destroy the economy, it was still not optimal.
Do you think that if a Republican was voted in 2020, that say Trump won, do you think that the unemployment rate would have fallen the same way it did after COVID under Biden-Harris?
Say you were actually responded to my argument. Do you think we'd finally have a conversation with good productivity? I just feel like every time I make an
conversation with doing Nazi salutes and saying the N-word as a liberal.
What?
Have you never said the N-word or the R-word?
Well, where the hell is this coming from?
Your mouth.
Then also you said Nazi salutes?
Yeah.
Are you saying that I've done the Nazi salute?
Yeah, you're going to say you've never done that once in your life?
Yeah, actually I will.
Don't lie to me, Dean. Don't lie to me, Dean.
So you suggesting that I'm lying...
Don't get me.
You suggesting that I'm lying means that you would have reason to believe that I have done the Nazi salute. Can you show me evidence that I've done the Nazi salute?
I just think that saying the N-word's the worst thing ever. And you say you're not racist, but you said the N-word, and that means you're a liar because you said it before.
What the hell?
You said something before that proves you're racist, and then you say you're not racist.
Yeah, like when I was 14, a friend texted me a Fortnite edit, and I said that's hella goated my N-word. That was racist. I do accept that, and I do agree. We've only been talking about this for the last couple of years. I'm pretty sure that my sentiment on the situation has been clear. Are you just upset that, like, I destroyed you in that debate, so now you're getting mad?
You destroyed me.
Like, what?
So I'm sore and loose, Bean. I am sore and loose. You destroyed me.
We're going to go ahead and move on. Let's get that next guest loaded up in here. By the way, we got our FYP push pulled on TikTok. So we're either just going to ride the last hour of the stream here out or hit a restart here pretty soon.